My name is Zenos Frudakis, and I'm sculpting a portrait bust of General Eisenhower. I find that I need a lot of photographs to try to capture the character and personality of the individual. Here I'm trying to get a sense of the intelligence in his brow, the focus in the eyes, the kind of determination. This is the kind of armature that I have inside of the clay model here. The clay doesn't support itself. You have to have a pipe and some wiring, and this is aluminum wire, and this supports the sculpture. And the way you start it is you have all these photographs, as I do, and you start to create the skull. See, I just lay this plastiline on here. This is the old Italian plastiline that I have. And you build it up. And I'm not going to take the time now to develop the whole thing because like some of the cooking shows, I'm showing you how it begins, and then I'm going to go right to the completed, nearly completed piece, although it's not quite finished, still a work in progress. I want to take the 60 years it takes to show you how a piece is developed. Well, it's taking me that long to learn how to sculpt. Anyway, this is the armature. So you can see the shoulders in here. These are the tools. Here's a paddle for developing the head, getting the large shapes. These are the various paddles. This is the hammer. A little hammer for getting the big shapes again. We're not doing detail early on. Okay, and then I'll be laying in the sternum, manubrium here. I'm using an Italian plastiline. It's a very old plastiline. It's oil-based clay. These are handcrafted sculpture tools. And trying to create a character study in a sense, trying to bring him back to life on a living, breathing portrait sculpture of General Eisenhower, if I can accomplish it. I have a friend, Craig Nanos, who's an expert on historical uniforms, and he lent me these two uniforms. This is the Eisenhower jacket. This is another jacket that Eisenhower used to wear, and I chose this one for the sculpture because I like the brass, and since I'm not showing much of the uniform, I wanted there to be some articulation. I'm not playing Hamlet here, but in addition to reading about Eisenhower, looking at all the photographs, you have to know how to sculpt them, not just from the outside in, which is what you have when you're looking at photos. You have to be able to sculpt from the inside out. You have to know where the frontal is, the zygomatic arch, the parietal eminence. You have to know the anatomy. This is an old, very old skull. But you have to be able to see the body under the covers, so in a sense. You have to know where the elbows are and the knees and things that are sticking up through the sheets. It has to make sense. And then you take that and try to make it into a kind of poetry, make it visual poetry, make it beautiful. So it's not just not creating something that's biological and matter of the cerebral. It's got to have also the emotional. I've sculpted several generals. Eisenhower worked for MacArthur in the Philippines. And this is the bust I did of General MacArthur. He also worked for Marshall, as almost everyone did. And I did this bust of Marshall. And I also sculpted Yarborough, who was one of the people who started the Green Berets, and he himself told me when he posed for me that that he planned a North African landing with Eisenhower. Also, I sculpted Churchill just before I did started the Eisenhower, and you can see that here in clay before it was cast in bronze. They knew each other, of course. And I've also done the National Air Force Memorial Honor Guard that's in Arlington National Cemetery, and that's 16 feet high with the flags. These are the individual pieces, the figures. I hope you've enjoyed this making of the general.